the Wim Hof method. So maybe you've heard of this guy, the Wim Hof, or you've heard of the WHM, Wim Hof method. Wim Hof is called the Iceman, and he's a Dutch man who ended up taking a very unconventional path in life. Like, he was homeless for a long time, and eventually he started just swimming in the lakes that, you know, the parks that he would be like around, like homeless around. And he found a lot of tranquility in that. And it just made sense to him that, you know, humans should be aligned with nature. We should be outside. We shouldn't always be wearing clothes or shoes. We should be like animals, that, you know, at least for a little bit. And he ended up creating this huge series of accomplishments. So this guy, Wim Hof, he's a world Guinness record holder for about 20 titles. He climbed Everest. I'm not sure he got to the top, but he got like a certain amount up Everest, barefoot and without a shirt on, in just shorts. People who go up Everest go up with like oxygen gear and like big thick coats and everything. And this random guy ended up going up in just shorts. And he accredited this to a few things. You know, he had acclimatized himself to the cold by taking cold baths and taking swims in cold lakes. But his breathing protocol is very interesting, and I want to guide you through one of the sessions right now so we can do this together. And then once you learn this breathing protocol, you can start to do this kind of automatically as you get into the cold every time. So I want to give you a disclaimer. This breathing protocol is actually quite intense. Every time I do it, I was quite a degenerate a few years ago. When I was in university, I took a lot of drugs. I didn't really like my life much, and I was surrounded by, it wasn't their fault, but I was surrounded by people like me who didn't like their lives. And one of the drugs that I took was called NOS. It's kind of like a laughing gas that you inhale when you put it in. Like, it's this gas that you release into a balloon, and you suck in the balloon, out in the balloon, and it gives you this intense feeling of like hallucinogens, and you pretty much pass out, and then you come back to life after that. So, or some people start like giggling for it. Obviously, this is very degenerate stuff. I'm not recommending this, but what's interesting is that the Wim Hof method actually feels very similar to that. So it's very intense. That's, of all the drugs I've ever done as like younger me degenerates, this NOS, like this laughing gas, was the most intense. It's the ones where like I easily could have died. Not even an exaggeration. People die from it. It kind of like shuts your brain off. So it's very like important that we take this quite serious and like do this with a disclaimer of, okay, do this safely. You might even pass out, so make sure you're sat down nice and safe. I'll make sure that you don't pass out, but like, you know, like just make sure you're not stood up right now next to concrete or anything, because it's a breathing protocol, which is quite advanced. We'll walk through it now, and we won't go like super extreme, just so I want you to just kind of feel the difference in your body, but I don't want it to be the ultimate level. That's something that you can progress to as you follow more guided protocols from people who are far more advanced than me. I'm like a beginner in this sense. So if you care about your life, you probably shouldn't follow me, but let's do it anyway. So the protocol is a very big inhale followed by a relaxed but quite short exhale. So what we want is that we're going to take in more air than we're actually giving out. Just follow my hand movement. When my hand goes up, that means inhale. When it goes down, it means exhale. We'll do this for about 30 breaths together, and then just follow my advice after that. So let's do this, okay? So inhale. Stay with me. Bigger breaths now. Probably feeling warm. Keep going. Feel the heightened temperature. going. Keep going. On the next exhale, hold your breath. Empty your lungs. Don't breathe. Don't breathe. I'm going to breathe just so I can talk to you. Don't breathe for as long as you can. Notice how still your mind is right now. Hold your breath for just as long as you can. Then you can take a big inhale when you need to, but just try and challenge yourself. Don't pass out. Just challenge yourself till it gets pretty uncomfortable. Then just take a normal breath. But hold your breath if you can. And just notice how still your mind is right now. Meditators, monks practice for years or maybe decades to experience the stillness that you have right now. That's how powerful this is. When you're ready, take a big inhale. Hold it just for a few more seconds. And then just fully let go. Just let your stomach fully relax. Don't hold it in. Imagine you're like a big, fat, powerful king who lets his big, fat stomach like empty out, like you don't care that anyone's looking. Just breathe deeply now. I wonder how you feel doing that for the first time. You know what I found is breath work is the fastest and most powerful self-improvement tactic that I've done so far. In just a few breaths, like just a few seconds, I feel like I'm able to change my outlook on the day, on life, the way that I feel. You could go through this intense moments of anxiety. Let's say, today you felt really anxious and depressed and unhappy. But you take a few powerful breaths like we've just done, and out of nowhere, it's like a lot of that negativity goes away and you can't help but stare at how beautiful the world is. I'm in the countryside right now and there's so many beautiful trees, the sunlight. When we breathe like this, it will make you more tolerant of the cold. What's interesting is that you'll still get the same level of benefits, the motivation, inflammation, all those like good things about the cold. But you'll be able to like stay in the cold longer if you've just had this kind of breathing pattern and then you go into the cold. So the way that I do this is like, I'll just sit next to the shower, like kind of in my room, but like ready for the shower with the towel ready. And I'll do one round of this where I take 30 breaths. I really inhale as much as possible, fill up not just my chest, but like my belly as much as possible. Then like breathe out maybe about 80% of it through my mouth, and then do that for about like 30 breaths. And sometimes I'll even do rounds of that as well. So one round is 30 breaths, then you exhale and hold your breath for as long as you can without like, the feeling of like really, really being in pain. But as soon as it gets like too uncomfortable, that's when I take a big breath in. And that's usually when I'll go to the shower. Sometimes I'll do 2 rounds of that or 3 rounds. And it feels like you can just handle the cold more when you do that. This is the Wimhof breathing method, something that you might want to go and research. And along with this, what I just found very interesting, I read Wim Hof's book. It's like a biography or he talks about his life and he talks about advice. It's a very nice book, so you can go and read it. And I've learned something very profound from his book, Wim Hof Method, Cold Exposure and Breathwork. I've spoke recently about coming more into spirituality and realizing, the material world, the material success, Western world, it's not all that it's hyped up to be. You can go and achieve all your greatest goals when it comes to money, status, success, followers, and everything. And you're still left as this insecure, anxious guy, overgrown boy. But every step that I take into spirituality has developed me more than every mile that I've sprinted in the material world. And I've spoke recently about the books and practices that have helped me. In The Way of the Superior Man by David Data is a book that really has. And everyone in this space of like spirituality, they often talk about reaching enlightenment. And that's like the best experience we could wish for. And the monks say that, enlightenment is something that you could attain if you get really good at meditation over decades, and you might be able to experience it for just a few seconds at a time. Enlightenment is the space between your thoughts when there's complete stillness in your mind. The other spiritual teachers say, it can take years. Some guys say that you have to take a bunch of drugs and psychedelics, and yet with the Wimhof method, you're actually able to experience enlightenment today within 30 seconds. And the later chapters of the Wimhof method, he talks a lot about this spiritual stuff, and he mentions the exact same thing, which I find so interesting, which I'm diving deep into now. Like, this is my mission, and I'm going to bring this to you. I really think I'm going to be like the messenger who connects the Western sort of plain speaking world to the spiritual parts. If you've ever looked into like spirituality or maybe religion, a lot of it is worded in a very difficult way to understand. You don't actually know what the fuck these people are actually talking about when they say these like deep things. And I really feel like I'm going to be the person who explains spirituality in a very plain speak way in these guides. Like, I'll make a step-by-step guide to enlightenment, or to, whatever level we're trying to get to. I would love to say, this is the way for you to live, but I've got to be honest with you. You've got to make the money first. And this is why I just want to mention Adonis School. Adonis School is my online program where not just me, but with multiple teachers, we teach you how to become like an online entrepreneur, how to make money from your laptop and then free up your time so that you can go and live the sort of natural human life that you want to. You build this powerful business that actually makes some money online, and you can finally free yourself to live how you should live. And it's a powerful existence. I can go anywhere I want now. I can go and live any place. I can afford any teacher, any skill that I want to learn. Like right now I'm learning yoga and breath work and storytelling and speaking. I have private teachers who literally coach me one-on-one for that. So you can imagine not just the physical freedom, but literally the level that I'm growing at because I've got the money to invest. If you're interested in that, Adonis School is the top link in the description. Click and watch this video right now. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah!